consistent to the last, going down through the last 3 years. And so these are our most three. We assign a lot more than these, but these are the 3 ones that are the most valid at the moment that I'm trying to make a picture of. So this is your back injury and lifting, and then de-escalation, and then you have slips, trips, and falls. So you can see at the bottom of the slide, there was some good participation. And then as you go up, there's a little bit more. And then now, it's increased even more so. So we're hoping to increase that even more with the vector solutions. I have another plan. I'm hoping it'll work. We'll see. But to implement a new incentive program, it's in its baby stages at the moment, to roll out for the coming school year, where we can help people continue to be proactive and not so reactive, right? So put in some parameters where we can have people make good choices and then get incentivized for making those good choices as well. And we want to focus a little bit more on the workers' comp and auto liability side, having a proactive program for that. So that's the plan. So hopefully next time when I come before you, I can say, it was successful. We'll see. Do you guys have any questions about that?
I do.
Okay, so go ahead, Mr. Heinley.
On the property, so, and maybe Bill Smith can answer this, but I assume our program manager has builder's risk insurance for the stuff, and then so once it's handed over, we get the CO, then we switch it to our property. Mm-hmm. Typical. Okay, just check.
Good question.
Like at Pine View right now, that would be under the builder's insurance.
Who's paying?
Yeah, it's not, if something happens out there, that would be on them, I would think, not us.
Well, we have an insurance policy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's part of the program management, correct,
Okay.
Mr. Smith? Yep, okay.
So it's
All right.
both, okay.
Good. All right, Mr. Bryant?
And you obviously were reading my mind because we talked about this at the spring about Vector and how much, FSBIT invests in this to help us with risk management. So I appreciate you making that challenge because I still think we underutilize Vector to its full advantage for us. But I'm glad to hear you're making it a priority. So
I'm trying.
And I also like that you are so proactive. I appreciate your strategies, and especially on the health, you're really working on that and others. So I think that's great. So I'm eager to hear what your new plan is that you have coming, because I think that's a really good thing. In the past, it's been something happens, you get it, you get the insurance and all like that. But now we're seeing, what we can do. And I know we get emails on things you could do on the health part. You can go and do this and get a little incentive, $100 here or whatever. I think that's great. Gets everybody, motivated. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you. I hope to continue to make more good changes like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And taking some risk of your own.
Love it.
And we're benefiting from that.
Yeah.
Anything else, Colin?
yeah, just one quick follow-up too, as the board trustee, and Dr. Hale, I appreciate the compliment that you gave to FSBIT as a whole, because it is a group of many individuals, 12 school board members, 12 superintendents, CFOs, you got risk managers, you got so many people involved in it. And yes, there is a vested interest from everybody that's in it. And I will just say that we just recently appointed a new director, and Mr. King Kenworthy, who has already been to one meeting over the last 6 months, has done a phenomenal job of, I think, putting a focus on how we can be even better. And I just know that I'm really excited to see what FSBIT is going to move as we move forward, how even, what's the best word to say, better we're going to be, I think. So that would probably be the best way to look at it. But and I know Ms. Cato, you had your first formal in-person meeting, and I will just say, colleagues, she was just she writing notes down. I mean, I think she went through a whole notebook, and was soaking it all in. But that just is a reflection of FSBIT today. We have a lot of new risk managers in there as people have retired or moved on. So we're getting a fresh perspective from different risk managers now. So that's, like I said, I feel comfortable that with us renewing this, that FSBIT is still going to be a good thing for the Okaloosa County School District. So.
Anything else, colleagues? All right, thank you, Ms. Cato.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Bryant, thank you. All right, so that takes us now to 7.30, approval of Hanover Insurance Group FSBIT full release and assignment claim number, I'll just give the last four, 2339, and reimbursement presented by Ms. Cato and recommended by the superintendent. All right, that takes us to Section 8, Superintendent's Human Resources Recommendations, 8.1, 8.2, information only. Employees on admin leave, and then employees on deferred retirement option program. 8.3, personnel recommendations presented by Dr. Hale and recommended by the superintendent. 8.4, employee transfers presented by Dr. Hale and recommended by the superintendent. 8.5, employment separations presented by Dr. Hale and recommended by the superintendent. 8.6, employee suspension presented by Dr. Hale and recommended by the superintendent. Please remember 8.7 was deleted. 8.8, leave without pay, presented by Dr. Hale and recommended by the superintendent. And then 8.9, reinstatement reimbursement of sick leave due to line of duty, illness, injury, medical examination, presented by Dr. Hale and recommended by the superintendent. That brings us down to Section 10, construction program owners, representatives, business. Anything today, sir? Mr. Heinle?
No, that brief was given last meeting
Yes,
at
sir.
6 o'clock, so.
Okay.
Oh, I will just say 10.2, 10.3 were the ones that were removed. They're back on. They were validated,
Okay.
so we're good to go.
Okay, very good. And so that does take us to 10.2, TPM program number 6, task order number 38, GMP for district-wide fine and performing arts, Niceville High School, presented by Dr. Smith and recommended by the superintendent. 10.3, TPM program number 6, task order number 45, GMP for sales tax priority restroom projects, presented by Dr. Smith and recommended by the superintendent. And then 10.4, TPM program number 6, task order number 24, phase 3, scope mod number 6, GMP central admin renovation project, presented by Dr. Smith and recommended by the superintendent. With all that, that brings us to our attorney. Mr. Attorney, any business today?
No report this morning.
Thank you, sir. This takes us to the superintendent's business. And Dr. Hale, thank you for sitting in today. Do you have something for us?
Yes, sir. If you don't mind, I'd like to ask Mr. Ron to come up and provide a professional services department update to the board.
Okay. Welcome, Mr. Ron.
Well, thank you for having me this morning. I
Yes, ma'am.
appreciate it. There we go. So I'm here this morning with y'all representing professional services. For those of you that I haven't spoken with before, and I think there are a couple of new board members since I took over this position as the program director, professional services is all about teachers. Everything we do in our office supports our teachers, which ultimately leads to our mission statement, which is to increase student achievement. That's our goal. We do this by preparing high-quality instruction for our new teachers. We prepare our new teacher induction program. We have some classroom management opportunities for teachers. And so that, again, our goal to increase student achievement. We work with all of our teachers as well as licensed professionals. That's our speech language pathologists, mental health counselors, OT is occupational therapy, physical therapy, and our social workers. So anybody that's on the instructional scale is who we help with. Our district CTE teachers are those that come to us teaching welding, culinary, cybersecurity. Their certification process is slightly different than the traditional Department of Education process, but we have that lined down into policy, and we help those teachers and those departments to grow. And then, of course, we have professional and temporary certificate teachers. A professional certificate teacher, for your edification, is somebody that most likely went through a college program to become a teacher. Or, and also in our circumstance, it's the professional certificate teacher that's come to us from another district, from another state. Temporary certificate teachers are what we call career changers. You might have heard the term alternatively certified teachers, ACTs. So that is a teacher that has come to us and is in a program that we help them earn the credentials to have a professional certificate. So a temporary certificate teacher, their minimal requirements when they come to the school district is to have a bachelor's degree as well as having taken and passed a Florida Department of Education certification exam in that subject area. So let's say, for instance, I have a bachelor's degree in business, but I want to teach physics, and I always use physics as an example because it's kind of extreme. If I were to take and pass that civics exam that the DOE has established, then that indicates I have content knowledge of that topic and can now teach that topic. So that's what the teacher would be hired in, or the potential candidate.
I have a question real quick.
Absolutely.
So what's the timeline from a teacher having a temporary to getting the permanent?
It's 5 years. It's a 5-year time period. Several years back, it was 3. The DOE made it 5. So these are the major areas of our department and what we work towards on a daily basis. And I'm going to speak to each one of these areas specifically. But new teacher induction, certification, the evaluation of our teachers, placement of student teachers and practicum students. And then, of course, we also manage the professional learning side of the house, managing the frontline catalog. So the new teacher induction program, so this is our framework that we use to support all of our newly hired teachers. And we didn't make any of this stuff up that we do. It's all state mandated. It's all in our policy manuals. And we have really found that with some creativity, we're able to meet all of the needs of our teachers as required by statute. So the new teacher induction program itself, we manage new teacher orientation, which happens every single month from the end of July through March. And that is for all newly hired teachers, anybody on the instructional contract. We produce the new teacher guidebook. That goes to all of our new teachers. New Teacher Institute is specifically for temp cert teachers, or the temporary certified teachers, providing them with some basic skills to help them be successful in the classroom. We also manage the school-based mentors program. And that's the program where with all new teachers, they're offered the opportunity to have a school-based mentor, typically somebody that's in their grade level and their subject matter and in their own school. So it's their buddy to help them. Along with that, we provide the consulting teacher program. Consulting teachers are who I define as master teachers. In my opinion, our consulting teachers can walk into a kindergarten classroom and help that teacher, that new teacher, become successful just as well as she's going into the physics classroom and helping a new teacher to learn how to manage the classroom and curriculum. And then we have the PLCP program, which is the Professional Learning Certified Program. Right, got it all. This is fairly new to our district, but this is a state-approved program for our temporary certified teachers to earn the credentials that they need to become a professional certified teacher. And I'll go into all of these in just a little bit more detail. So new teacher orientation, you're probably most familiar with the one that we carry on in July, 1st of August. That's our the year is starting off. We have it broken up into 5 different categories of instruction that day, and the The result is hopefully 100 and some odd newly hired teachers that have a feel for what we do here in Okaloosa County. We also teach them, it's state mandated that we teach new hires about our teacher evaluation system. That takes place on that day. MIS comes and talks about all things computers and how we manage it in our classrooms. The ESE and the Student Services Department also comes and makes a presentation to our teachers, as well as kind of one of a little bit lighter but also more important topic. Brian and Erica come and speak to our teachers about Download the Calm, basically reminding teachers that we are most effective when our brain state is where it's supposed to be, so that we can then help our children in the classroom. The New Teacher Institute is specifically for temporary certificate teachers. This 2-day training is based on the Florida Educator Approved Practices, or the FEAPs, if you will. They are the standards for teaching. Just like an English teacher or a math teacher has standards that they have to make sure that their students are reaching, we have an obligation to make sure our teachers are meeting their teaching standards, if you will. Also, a 2-day event that happens all through the year. So it'll happen in July, right after new teacher orientation for 2 days, and then every month through March, through the school year, through March of the school year. And we kind of stop it there because hiring has slowed down a lot, and we just tend to do a little bit more one-on-one. But let's say you were hired in April and you need this course, then you would come and take it in July. We'll catch you. Also, the New Teacher Induction Program, as I mentioned before, takes care of our school-based mentors. In order for a teacher in a building to be a school-based mentor, they need to take the clinical educator certification training. And we offer that. It's something that our district has developed that meets state standards, and it provides a teacher the skills that he or she needs to help support new teachers in their buildings. And they manage a journal through the year. School-based mentors are provided a stipend based on the work that they do with their new teacher. And then we have the consulting teachers. So as I mentioned before, they are what I consider master teachers. To start out their work with a new teacher, they start with a formative assessment, which is the teacher evaluation. And we see exactly what their weaknesses are, and then at that point, the consulting teacher makes a prescription, if you will. We have a diagnosis and a prescription, and they come in and help the new teacher all through the year by demonstrating teaching, by co-observing, taking teachers to other classrooms and debriefing, by actually teaching with the new teacher, co-teaching, or even side-by-side teaching, which is a little unusual, but it happens and it works. That's almost like me standing next to the new teacher, and this works really well in an elementary classroom. It's a little bit more awkward in secondary, but side-by-side teaching, the consulting teacher might stand right next to the new teacher and go, "Oh, don't forget, remind them about blah blah blah," or "Don't forget, we need to teach this particular skill." Do you see Johnny in the back of the room? He's not paying attention. Just kind of guiding and helping them get through. And so having said that, it's really, really important that the consulting teachers build a relationship with the teachers that they're helping, just like a classroom teacher builds relationships with their students. We work in partnership with instructional coaches, behavior interventionists, the behavior coaches. We work with school leaders and also the mentors to help make sure that teachers are getting the support that they need. I think I might need to back up just a second. In speaking about the consulting teachers, by statute, they are required to work with our temporary certificate teachers. So there's a bit of a division, if you will. The consulting teachers are working with the temp certs, not necessarily with professional certs. However, if a principal were to mention that he or she has hired a new pro cert that's not quite up to snuff, then we get in there and help with that as well. Another topic that we work on during the year is classroom management. Classroom management is key to a successful classroom, and many of our temporary certificate teachers need guidance with that. So the CTs have developed 2 trainings that we put on throughout the year. Harry Wong, who many of us have heard about as educators, and then also Doug Lamov with Teach Like a Champion. And we've had standalone sessions where a teacher can come in for six hours to a course. We also help at the district PL days and having some mini sessions on these topics. Our professional learning certification program. So this is for your temp certs. When a teacher is hired with that bachelor's degree and the physics test, they apply to get a certificate from the DOE, and the DOE says you're eligible for a temporary certificate. And you have 5 years to get this stuff done, and then you can apply to get your professional certificate. Typically, there are 6 college courses that are listed on a teacher's statement of eligibility. Back in the day, teachers like myself, a temp cert, we took the 6 college courses to meet the requirements. It takes a lot of time and it's expensive. The DOE has established our ability to build our own professional learning certification program. So we have hired, or we contract through Beacon Educator to develop a set of courses. I believe there's 13 courses, basic courses, that meet the same standards materials as in those college classes. These classes are fast-paced. It's a lot less expensive. It only costs $1,300, $1,320, and can be done in about a year and a half, as opposed to 3 or 4 years of college courses, one course at a time, $500 per course. It's been very successful. We have teachers moving through it all the time. I think currently we have about 130 of our temp certs enrolled. Another important function in our building, in the department, is certification. As many of you know, Terry Baum, who was here forever, recently retired, and Lisa Marshall is now taking over this responsibility. Things that Lisa does on a regular basis is when a principal is posting a job, we make sure that the job is posted with the appropriate certifications that are required. When somebody is hired for that job, we make sure the person has the certifications. And if not, we give them instructions on how to get it. We also manage the in-service points through the Frontline catalog, and I'll explain that to you a little bit more in a few minutes. And we are constantly monitoring legislation to make sure we are in compliance. There's some big ones out there on the table right now that we are looking at. Evaluation. We are responsible for making sure that all instructional personnel are evaluated every year, and we train them on that evaluation every year, as well as train all new administrators in the system and how to evaluate their teachers. Placement of student teachers and interns. I think this one's pretty interesting because we've talked for a long time about the fact that we're not getting very many college grads anymore. And I think when we look at our local schools, Northwest Florida, UWF, our number's pretty consistent every year, but what's growing that number are the online programs that many of our personnel are available to take part in. A lot of military spouses that come to us having taken courses at University of Phoenix, Grand Canyon. Liberty's a big one. And I mentioned there's one up here, Fort Hays. I don't even remember where Fort Hays is, but we had a military spouse. And we contract with the school and we make sure that they're meeting the credentials. So that keeps us very busy in our office. And SkillBridge is mentioned here. We are SkillBridge. We are an approved SkillBridge internship program from the Department of Defense. Last year, or actually this current school year, we have had 7 interns that are soon to retire from the military. I've already got 5 lined up for next fall. So it's a very busy area in our office. And then our professional learning platform, everybody signs up for courses through Frontline, and we manage that. It ends up rolling into Focus, and then it ultimately ends up rolling into the Department of Education. And that is what we do all day long. Some people often say, oh, it's summer, you're in your slow time. We are geared up, as many of my colleagues behind me are, as we get ready for the school year. So I'm happy to answer any questions or.
Thank you, Ms. Duran. Mr.
You're
Bryant.
welcome.
So what's our retention rate?
That's a good question. It's a moving target. It's really hard to say on any given time. Right. I think we run with the national and the state average. We're dealing with a different population and mindset of young teachers. Right. Our teachers that come to us with their pro cert already, they know this is what they want in their career. Our temp certs are still trying to figure it out. So it's important that we as a department, as well as all of our schools, provide the support and resources for those new teachers to keep that retention at a livable level.
Right. And you said we were at the national average, so what's the percentage about?
Oh.
I don't mean to put you on the spot, but if you
I don't know the number, but I'll get back to you.
Okay.
I'll email it to you later today.
I think I
Thanks.
remember it's 50%.
Well, that would be my
years.
gut.
Yeah.
That would be my gut.
And I might just interject as well, Mr. Bryant, Dr. White. First of all, I just want to say thanks to Sharon for just kind of unveiling the critical nature of the professional services department. I don't think anybody really fully understands the structure underneath a lot of the things that we do, and so that was very thorough but very needed. I do appreciate that. Everything that the professional services department does is quite critical to the operations in the classroom, which, as we said earlier, is all about student achievement at the most foundational level. So very much appreciate that. One of the metrics that we use to kind of track our retention level in terms of, she's right, there's a lot of ebb and flow and in and out, but I think that if you look over the last 3 years, you'll notice that our vacancies that we carry across from month to month have diminished each year. I think that's one thing to look at. I think that on the other side of the coin, I think the simple fact of the matter that we have to run new teacher induction all the way through March of every year tells you that we're in a constant state of hiring. So it's our job to facilitate those ins and outs as they occur, but also to support the new teachers when they come in, especially the career changers, which, as you've seen over the last several years, has become an increasing percentage of our overall instructional population. And I know that Sharon is standing there as an example of someone that transitioned successfully, as am I, sitting right here today, both career changers. And so I think this is just a very, very critical department. But those are the metrics that we use to kind of track that on a month-to-month basis.
All right, colleagues, anything else?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
The monies that are spent on, like you said, 1,320, the individual is covering that?
Yes, the individual is covering that, and something that we've made that a little bit more palatable for them as well is we do a payroll deduction. I think we get $110 out of their paycheck for a school year, and that covers the cost, which is a lot easier to swallow than writing that tuition check every January.
Just want to thank you and your department because, like you said, there's so many different ways that individuals can become teachers so you have to balance all that. And also, I know you do a lot of things. You helped me when I wanted to redo my certificate and what I had to do. So you guys are really on it, and I appreciate you doing all that. It's a lot to cover.
You're welcome. Happy to help.
All right, thank you, Ms. Duran. Okay, anything else, Dr. Hale?
Well, I'm not going to steal the board's thunder, but I would just say that this has been a great couple of weeks as we've celebrated over 1,900 students graduating from Okaloosa County schools. And I know the superintendent has crossed over many of you on those stages, as have I. And I know that it's just a joyous time for these families and a tribute to our schools, getting those students across that stage into the next stage of life. But that's all that I would say this morning, and I will not take any more time.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Hale. All right, colleagues, that takes us to Section 13, Board Members' Announcements. And Mr. Heinley, I'll start with you, sir.
Well, obviously, the first thing I'm going to talk about is the graduation weeks. I mean, geez, first time for me. I learned a lot. I'll know what to expect next time, but like 497 handshakes at Niceville. But it was a fun time, actually, and seeing all the congratulations going around. Let's see, what else do I have? We have some, I want to do a shout out to Legendary for bringing 2 softball players from Niceville High School back for graduation just in the nick of time. They supported that, so that was very good. And shout out to Niceville High School softball team for getting to the state. And I'll let Parker talk about Fort Walton. I know they did well as well. Okay, 27th. Who was the 27th President of the United States?
Taft.
Bingo. Fast. That's all I have, Chip.
All right, thank you, Mr. Heinley.
Almost like you expected that.
Okay, Ms. Ivanchak?
Yeah, a couple things. Yeah, again, on graduation, it was great. And at Baker, they do the awards the day before, and I just appreciate Mr. Bryant and Mr. Destin being with me to congratulate those students. A lot of great awards up there. And also at graduation, Ms. Lightbourne, it was a pleasure to have you with me. And what you're saying is one of your last graduations you're going to do, and then Mr. Bryant as well. And do want to mention, of course, Baker had a tough situation at graduation, recognizing a student who had passed away back in February. I want to say what brave parents who showed up to go through all that ceremony to accept the diploma for their daughter, Cadence Fredrickson, and to also say that I want to congratulate, I don't know if that's the exact word, but appreciate that the Baker community, along the administrators and those students, and the decorum they showed in recognizing that student at their graduation. It was perfectly done, and I was excited that they did that. Not that I wouldn't expect that. Also, I want to congratulate Mr. Spolsky and Mr. Heinley, who each had a daughter graduate, and I can only imagine how exciting that is to be in your position and to get to have that extra with it being your daughter crossing that stage. So, and I know for you, your first time, your daughter, that's pretty cool. And
my last daughter.
Yes, but that's great. So
Thank you.
Congratulations on those memories. Also want to say about Baker that they're on their spring sports. The Florida High School Athletic Association looks at their grades, and they ended up, for all their spring sports teams, second in the state in the rural class based on their cumulative GPA of 3.487. So that's quite an accomplishment of those athletes and all that. And from the foundation, I know we're finishing the school year, but Ms. Tate wanted me to go ahead and get everybody on the calendar for Stuff the Bus for next year's August 2nd. And finally, tomorrow morning, I will be trying to inspire some 5th graders at Florosa Elementary as they head to middle school. So if you've got any suggestions, let me know. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Bryant?
Thank you, Dr. White and board. I will too say that this part of the year is always, it's a full calendar for all of us, but this is this is the highlight of the year, seeing those kids go off the stage. We shook 511 hands at Crestview, so that was, I think, their biggest class ever. And the ceremony itself was great. The weather was great. Everything was perfect. And but when you see that last student go off stage, whether they're the first or the last, they're all entering into the same world. And and I'm excited that for them that they had the opportunity to get their education in Okaloosa County. And I know all of these schools are going to produce some great people who are going to make a lot of big impacts as we move forward in the world. Ms. Ivanchek was talking about the fifth graders. With the way our board meeting was set up, since yesterday was Memorial Day, Southside is doing their little graduation. So we celebrated the class of 2025. This will be the class of 2038. So pretty interesting that we're even mentioning 2038. So that's right around the corner.
Yeah.
I don't think any of us will be at their graduation, at least on this board we won't. But Tallahassee, Mr. Spolsky was talking about Tallahassee earlier, and as y'all know, they're in overtime with the budget. June 6th is the Senate's hope. June 30th and beyond is the House's hope. But in between, they are actually signing some legislation. The governor actually signed in a couple of bills into law last week that I think bring back local control for the schools and gives us a better, better feel of what our county needs. And that was Senate Bill 296, middle school, high school start times. And also Senate Bill 1470, which is the school safety bill. Both of those were signed into law. So there is things happening. It's just the one thing that they're there for is the budget. They still haven't got that down. But I think those are two bills that we should be, that I think are good for our districts. So, but other than that, I hope everybody has a great summer and look forward, like Ms. Duran said, people think that the school district goes on vacation during the summer, but this board and the district do not go on vacation. We have a lot going on, and the budget is the big thing. And of course, the district doing the hiring and all the building and everything else that we do during the summer. So it is going to be an active summer, but I do wish everybody a happy summer break.
Thank you, Mr. Bryant. Mr. Destin.
Thank you, Chairman. I had a lot of fun doing some research in anticipation of, Mr. Heinley's question about the president, and I stumbled upon a sort of like a history blogger who, I guess for likes, you guys remember Super Size Me?
Yep.
So basically this guy just had the William Taft diet for a month, and it almost killed him. Just as a sampling for breakfast, every morning Taft would have a 12-ounce ribeye, 3 waffles with syrup and butter, potatoes, and then sometimes you'd finish it off with his other favorite, which was turtle soup. Just to give you an idea what that guy was housing every morning. It was wild. Anyways, I got to watch a guy try to, basically redo it, and it hurt his cholesterol bad. I'll say it has been a fantastic graduation season. It was my first time, and I loved every moment of it. It was really, really great to see everybody, to see these graduates, get them over the line, and then I got to spend some really good time in a fun, jovial manner with all of you as my colleagues. I very much enjoyed seeing everybody. Fort Walton Beach women's softball has done very well. That was a neat part about being there with Spolsky and Dr. Hale. We got to sit there on pins and needles, but 10 minutes before we started the ceremony, we got the great news that the team had won, and that was a really neat announcement. I know that Lindsey Smith was just thrilled, on cloud 9, being able to tell everybody at the graduation that the girls had won. 3 of those potential graduates missed out on the ceremony because they were competing in Orlando, and so I'll offer the invitation on behalf of Miss Smith. There's gonna be a ceremony tomorrow night at 7 at the softball field in Fort Walton. So we're going to do a small ceremony for those 3 seniors that missed their their regular graduation ceremony. And then just as a quick update, we sent a team at Fort Walton to nationals, and the academic team did quite well. Actually, Will Kiker, who is, you could call him the stud of the team, the guy is just a brainiac, and everything he touches, he does really, really well at. I believe he was out of about 1,650 competitors. He was in the top 4%. So, I mean, the guy just, everybody did well, but he did exceptionally well. So, proud of all of those guys, and that's all I've got.
All right, very good. Thank you, Mr. Destin. All right, colleagues, that'll take us to public comment, item 14. And then please note that this evening at 6:15, we will also have a public hearing. All right, so Mr. McInnes, anything else in the workshop?
No, sir.
Superintendent, designee, we're doing all right? And staff, no association. This meeting is adjourned.
Man.